Hello, my name is Chizube Juwaku, and I'm a prospective DPT applicant for this cycle. So, one of the reasons that I decided to pursue a career in physical therapy was for the fact that I ran track in high school. Now, track for me was a sport that provided constant activeness, an elevated mental function, as well as a high level of athleticism, all of which I found that also existed in physical therapy. And so with track, I got to see a lot of injuries as well as a lot of the procedures it took to care for them and the treatment that went along with it. So speaking of track, a specific incident comes to mind where a teammate of mine was practicing a long jump and she landed the wrong way on her ankle coming down. And so at the time, I was able to help her up and assess her subjective descriptions and then get her into the athletic training room for treatment and care. And in that moment, some things that I picked up besides the fact that I was able to help her was that if not for the fact that we were in a school setting with a designated athletic trainer on duty to help the athletes and be with us and work with us through injuries that occurred during our sports, she might not have received that same effective treatment and care that she received in that moment. So I was thinking if she had been in a smaller rural community maybe, or if she had been just in a non-school setting in general, she might not have received that same care that she received in that moment at the time when the injury happened. That brings me to a statistic that actually troubles me. And so 26.5% of Hispanic Americans and 44.8% of African Americans are less likely to receive a therapy visit compared to their Asian American or white American counterparts. And for me, that makes me exceptionally uneasy, and I cannot seem to wrap my head around the fact that in a country where we are said to be one of the leaders of healthcare globally, there are still such a large number of people who are facing these racial and ethnic disparities. And so what I aim to do as an aspiring physical therapist is to bridge that gap that is existing there in these communities, to find a way to lessen these health disparities that do exist in our community. And now, another reason that I decided to pursue a career in physical therapy was for the fact that I am Nigerian American, and with that, I was able to see both sides of the spectrum, the American side and the Nigerian side. And so in my early childhood, I actually encountered an experience that also was very pivotal in my decision and my coming to terms with this career path. And about 10 years ago, my parents actually sent me to boarding school in Nigeria for 3 years. And while there, I did go for schooling and to learn more about the culture and the different facets of diversity that do exist. However, I was able to pick up on some other things, such as the poor physical health care that existed in that country. And I did notice that a lot of my classmates actually would have various pains and joint discomforts and would just be told to either sleep it off or to toughen up. And coming from a place where I knew that if you're injured, then you get treatment or go get it checked out because you never know what it could be, I was a little confused at the way that they just disregarded their physical health care in a sense. And a specific classmate of mine had a story that I cannot forget. So in her early childhood, she experienced a foot injury that led her to now walk permanently with a limp. And I'm not sure what the injury was. However, I do know that the fact that she's forced to now walk with that limp for the rest of her life possibly is a sign of the poor physical health care that does exist in that country. A lot of the natives don't know the basic rules and different ways to take care of their physical bodies, and it kind of upsets me that there's such lack of knowledge in these other countries. And so that's another thing I do plan to do as an aspiring physical therapist, is to bridge the disparity gaps that also exist globally, as not just nationally. And that just goes to say that my overall goal as an aspiring physical therapist is to serve underrepresented communities. I cannot stress that enough. I'm very driven when I hear about the different ways that certain racial groups or ethnic groups or communities are unable to receive the same care and treatment that everybody else can, and that is a big thing for me. And also that is a big thing of why I chose Howard as one of my top choices in DPT programs. Howard is an institution that specifically select students who are from an underrepresented community, who then in turn are shaped and molded to go back and serve in other underrepresented communities, which is exactly what I plan to do. And so I figured, if this is my goal in physical therapy, what better place than to do it than Howard, which is exactly what their mission statement says that they are about and that they want to see from their students. And that is the reason why I chose Howard as one of my top choices in DPT programs. And overall, that's my goal and that is my passion and why I'm driven to pursue physical therapy for those reasons. And I do hope you consider me in your application process. Thank you.